right back, Charlie.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, bro. Come on.
There's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like there's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like there's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, bro. Come on.
Thank you very much for that, Ian Wright. People deluded, I'm back again. First things first, appreciative of all of you lot tuned in. Appreciate all the support you give my channel. Hope everyone's had a blessed weekend. Hope next week is filled with obviously good health and, you know, positivity for you and your loved ones. Obviously, people, smash the like button as usual. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, in some cases, good night. Any talking points, questions, etc., feel no sort of way about adding them in. If you're on Twitch, appreciative. If you're on YouTube, appreciative. Again, make sure you're cross-following. Now, I'm sure you've all been paying attention to the Premier League. You know, Liverpool lost, Arsenal lost, Man City lost. So again, what a difference 24 hours could make for some Arsenal fans that assume Spurs did us a favour. Obviously, like someone commented, once a Gooner, always a Gooner. And Harry Kane, congratulations for hitting, I think, 2, 6, 7 goals in all comps for Spurs, their top goal scorer. But obviously, he's somewhat dented Manchester City's title hopes if Arsenal were allegedly going for that. I don't check the league table, but I do know we need to react to Brentford. We need to react better yet against Brentford and obviously against City after that, people. So yeah, it is what it is. Was cursed yesterday, but blessed today on the Lord's Day. Mitoma to us will be great, but money, allegedly they're saying 35 million. Smash the like button. We'll get into all of that, people. I want to offer some of my own thoughts in relation to Everton, and we'll see what the gaffer Mikel Arteta said. Smash the like as you enter. Big up DG. We got a lifeline. Boy, you got a lifeline. We still got a game in hand, but Brentford are going to want revenge, and Brentford's a disgusting team and a nice way to play against. If we play kind of like how Spurs did against City, you know, we should be all right. But we always get the most elite version of Manchester City. Pep seems to have a bogey team in Spurs. His teams always seem to lie down for Spurs. And to be honest, Spurs were perfect. You know, the Reballs, the error-prone players, the Emerson Royals, you know, they even finished the game with 10 men. But the Emerson Royals, the Højbjergs, the Hugo Lloris, not that he had much to do, the Eric Dyers, on top of everyone, they stood up to be counted. Spurs in the second half could have scored some of their half chances as well. City just looked a bit toothless in the final third. Yeah, they dominate possession and that, but they do give you chances in the defensive third. They don't necessarily take their chances in attacking sense. You know, Pep's moving like a magician because 6 foot, 7 foot plus Haaland's gone missing. I think Rico Lewis and Jack Grealish were their best players. But yeah, man, I guess it makes it all interesting. Pardon me. Thank you, Spurs. They did us a massive favor. Too many Arsenal fans having a meltdown and losing faith. I mean, Arsenal fans are volatile, bro. When things are going right, you know, man start saying we're going to do this and that and the third. When we start losing games, it is what it is. And that's not necessarily isolated to Arsenal fans. That's just what they're doing. Voted twice, once on my banned account. No clue why you're banned. But yeah, great to see City losing points. Kane scoring might be the first time he actually wins a trophy just for us, not Arsenal. I mean, he's been at the trophy parades before. It is what it is, man. Well said, Daniel. In my opinion, the mistake City made was letting Cancelo go and not replacing him. Fair enough. What else is being said? Shout out Mafia Boss and that. DG, 35 million by the summer. He'll be closer to 45, 50. I mean, we all know he's going to cost more than 35 million. I'm sure it'd be a handsome profit, but they have an appreciating asset, Brighton, do they not? Obviously, when you consider that not only him, they're going to make a decent profit on Mitoma, or not just Mitoma when they sell him, but you'd imagine McAllister and Calcedo, or at least one of the two, are not at Brighton come the summer. Obviously, they've still got strong cash reserves because in the recent years, Benjamin White's brought in 50. 20 odd for Bissouma, Cucurella 60 odd. Probably a couple of other players have been sold here, there, and everywhere. So it's not like, and obviously Brighton are a well-run club, so it's not like they're broke. It's not like they're struggling. It's not like they're in issues or under any real pressure to balance the books and things. It pays to do things when you're smart, man. It is what it is. Can't lie, City and Arsenal dropping points pulls Man U back into the running, bro. Nobody's out of it, you know. Nobody's broken clear. Again, at the halfway stage of the season, if Man United obviously go and beat Leeds United twice now, and I think they got Leicester over after that, it's looking very rosy. I think in our next 4 games, Arsenal, we've got Brentford, then we go, you know, then we will. I don't even know if it's home or away, but we've got Brentford, City, Leicester City, I'm sure, and Aston Villa and Unai Emery. So there's tough games. Nothing's decided. I mean, one thing I have liked with Arsenal is we've reacted quickly this season. And again, in the same way the players don't waffle when we've won games, you know, they enjoy the night we've won and the next day we're back on it. That's what needs to happen. Flush it out of our system. We weren't good enough against Everton. We didn't do the business against Everton. They were better than us over all aspects of the field, but we need to move on. You know, when we lost to United, we went and done a thing. When we dropped points against Newcastle United, we went and reacted. When we dropped points from a winning position at St. Mary's against Southampton, we reacted. You've got to dust yourself off and go again. If we feel sorry for ourselves, we're in problems really and truly. So yeah, man. It is what it is. Love for the super chat, my guy. Hey, you're chatting crap, Marcel. You're lucky you're my guy. Could never. Not wait, say for the donation, but that ain't gonna go far. You waste, man. Why you got banter like you didn't get savaged by the wolves? I keep telling you, call the animal protectors, call pest control, because wolves, bees, you know, eagles, all sorts of animals, you know, Nando's, chickens, like the lot down the lane. We do this thing, man. I heard Stamford Bridge Lions got savaged as well. We're coming like Steve Irwin, RIP. Allow us, man. Home both Brentford and City. So we need to make the home form count. You know, we look at City last year, we were quality, but I look at Martinelli missing a tapping. I look at us letting ourselves down for Rodri's goal. These are the fine margins, really and truly. This is what City saw today. They didn't control the fine margins, really. You know, the City players got closer to surrounding the ref than they really did in the final third. So it is what it is. Marcel, calm yourself down, man. Like Jurgen Klopp, he's going to be Phil Mitchell come the end of the season. You know, you're not going to make him go Oktoberfest in February. Mad thing. No, I'm joking, man. But anyways, Arteta said some good things yesterday about loving the players more now after the loss. But he loves them players. You got to love them players if they're still here. But that just helps with the togetherness. In a weird way, I didn't like how, obviously, you know, Mupé, top rattler. Against Arsenal was going to pee me off, but top rattler. Everton were rattling, kicking, all these things. On one hand, I do like that we care a bit more, but on the same time, we need to keep our heads. Sometimes when you can't win, don't lose. I think we could have learned that yesterday. Sometimes there's a way in losing the game. And for me, it's just to say, it's just a fact of, a bit like City today against Spurs, you know, you've allowed a team struggling for clean sheets to get one. You've, through what you've done in the aftermath of the game and how you've played, you allowed inconsistent defenders to gain confidence. But again, you can see already what Sean Dyche is bringing to Everton, and they're going to be a different team. I've never cheered a Spurs win, but I just did. Now, I didn't cheer anything. It was a bit indifferent. Arsenal was always going to win today, and either Spurs drop points, City drop points, whatever denomination it is, well, it is. Jesus, some rumors say he'll be back end of February, beginning of March, but you know, someone like Gabriel Jesus is going to be back sooner rather than later. So you just hope he comes back when he's able and ready to really do this thing, people. Again, on that, where's my notes? It's a bit of a jar because I just read them all now. Oh, yeah, here we go. So, yeah, with that being said, let me just share my screen and offer my 2 cents on the Everton game now that we've had time to digest it. I've put some bullet points, really, people. You know, the first thing, as you can see here, I mean, what have we learned versus Everton? This is just for me. Smash the like button. Twitch can keep your opinions coming. For me, the key thing is to forget and react. What I mean by forget is take the bad from that game and obviously improve. Take the positives, if there are any, improve, and get back on it against Brentford. You know, and so on and so forth. It happens. We've dropped a maximum of 10 points this season, which in a game of fine margins, you are wishing, had we have beaten Everton, had we have performed a bit better at Old Trafford, had we have broken down a low block in Newcastle, had we have not dropped points from winning positions against Southampton, the position we'd be in. But if you told me we'd have 2 L's and 2 L's and 2 draws this season, you know, dropping points in 4 games out of the 19 so far, I would have bitten your hand off. Sitting here in February, I would have bitten your hand off in August to say that. So crucially, forget and react for me. I would say on reflection, game management. I think we only look good the real first 10 minutes of that game. I think, you know, could we have taken advantage, score a quick goal? This is a team lacking in confidence, fighting relegation. Obviously, Sean Dyche has had the week or so to train them defensively, and they're going to be a bit more of confidence because Lampard couldn't do that. Could you kind of dispel that? I didn't really like the last 20 minutes of the first half. I think the first 15, 30 minutes of the second half, ultimately, we conceded around the 60-minute mark. We were never really in it. I think it raises questions when teams still are a bit physically imposing. There's issues. It is our second game we've conceded from a set piece, 2 different scenarios. I think William Saliba did well defending corners for Arsenal, but these are the things we need to do better, really. Obviously, I do think a couple of players are going off the boil a bit. Benjamin White's still my guy. Could make a case of Tomiyasu in there. I do think there's a cocktail where Martinelli's concerned of him looking a bit flat. A byproduct of Zinchenko running into midfield. There's not a consistent overlapper, and Granit isn't quite doing that how he was doing it this season. And I do think Martinelli can be a bit predictable at times. That being said, you look at Martinelli, that issue of just risen there, coupled with that Saka 2-3 man against him. I thought our wingers out the game were in trouble, really and truly. It weren't really a game. The young Ukrainian lad at left back, the experienced Seamus Coleman, we didn't really put the burners on. I thought going into that game, a spring chicken like Martinelli, you get him on Seamus Coleman, you're gonna pop his hamstring. He's not gonna make the 90 minutes. So he is what it is, people. I did think if there were some positives, I would say apart from Zinchenko losing his head, I thought that was one. I think Ramsdale as well did all right with his distribution. I think Saliba and Gabriel had good games. I think our midfield is lacking a 6. On reflection, a bit like how I felt at Old Trafford when Mikel Arteta has made some changes in the middle of the park. We're struggling, really. And I felt Xhaka is probably better in the final third than Partey, but I felt Xhaka should have come off for Partey because we started getting overran a lot more, people, in my opinion. This is the issue you kind of sign up with. Going back to Old Trafford, when you don't do things in the transfer market and Partey now and then they're injured, respectfully to Lokonga, you sign up for results like that kind of yesterday as well. It still shows at times, unfortunately, we can be dominated, we can be overran. We still find it tough in transitions. Defensively, we can defend a lot better, even excluding the goals, because, really we should have lost the game in the first half. Clearly in the final third, even though we've improved in that, we're sharing the goals out a bit more. We didn't do that yesterday. Everton kept a clean sheet. And that shows why we don't do well at Goodison Park, really. I think, as I said, Partey came off shambles. I do think there's an element of scapegoating with Jorginho. Yes, he did come off the bench and instantly we've conceded, but it's not really his fault like that. Quiet day from Granit. And I do think I'm not saying Benjamin White should be dropped, but I do think there's a legit question to bring in Tomiyasu when we play at home against Brentford. I still think it shows a young team transitioning to that elite level of optimum consistency and level of performance, because we didn't do that yesterday. And sometimes you just have to get the job done. It still shows we can beat. It's meant to say beat. We can beat a press very easily. But as you saw, Everton were pressing us. They were solid in the middle. We were getting past the press. But when we had the ball, it's not bringing our midfielders or attackers in. So cool, we're looking fancy, but we're not really doing that much, really and truly. We need to find better ways of connecting defense and attack better, really, and especially in the final third. As I said, you kill our wingers, you kill us. Saka has 2-3 man against him. Martinelli's not got consistent runners, or he hasn't really got that level of variety in his game, even though he is trying. So he does become a bit predictable. I do think we've improved a lot since the start of the season defensively, but we're still conceding cheap goals, as you saw yesterday, in my opinion. Didn't have to go like that. And again, I'd throw in, for me, the cheapest goals, I'd say Leicester at home. Obviously, there's been a couple brain farts throughout the season, but I'd say Leicester at home, the goals against United and the one yesterday, both games against Man United, actually, because terrific from Rashford. We've given that to him in the basis of we've given the ball away. We didn't heed our lessons at Old Trafford. Obviously, it's 2 Premier League games in a row we've conceded from a set piece, really. So a bit like bosses, you either concede none or 2 come at the same time. For me, we failed to knock the confidence of a team fighting relegation. We're giving them faith in Sean Dyche's tactics and being able to overcome their season. That was something we moved away from, but that is something that was there. I do like the fact that we're very much more passionate whether we win or lose or draw, but I did think towards the end of the game, when it became abundantly clear we've lost the game, I do think, we could have kept our discipline. Easier said than done. Ultimately, we need to be more efficient and effective in the final third in terms of creating and scoring, because we barely. Off the top of my head, I remember Eddie Nketiah has tried to smash it to the near post. Probably should have went across the keeper. He should have done better for that. He's then laid Odegaard, and the form Odegaard's in, he probably should score. He didn't. And really, what did Pickford have to do? The most you saw from Pickford is lying that Eddie Nketiah has touched him and rolling around. Damn T-Rex twat. But anyways, away from that. So like I said, we could ultimately be more efficient and effective in the final third. I do think we struggled on the transitions, people. Ultimately, football's decided in both boxes. The majority of the talking points is in the middle of the park. Onana was running rings around us, but we failed to put the ball in the back of the net in their box. We didn't defend good enough in it. So ultimately, people, I think that's why we kind of found ourselves in that scenario. And even times when we've won games, them things there have been there, people. So it kind of is what it is. I want to see what Mikel Arteta is also saying about such people. Jorginho scapegoating is bad. He ain't fault. Just not a player to bring on when you're losing. Though need someone to overlap for Saka, but need to learn from this game. And I think our attacking players are far too deep. I agree that Martinelli needs to come off the bench for Trossard to start next game. Tomiyasu in for White. Ben White looks like he's been struggling a bit. Physically, looks like there's an issue. Eddie yesterday was better than Haaland today. I hear that, but it's irrelevant because both teams lost. And as good as Haaland is, or as whatever about Eddie, I only care about Eddie's performance. But if your midfield's not in the game, if you're not creating chances, then Eddie's not really going to do much. But he could have done better than with what he had. I already saw that in relation to Jesus. But Mikel Arteta has said, people, obviously we knew what time it was against Tarkowski, Dwight McNeil, two Burnley players, former Burnley players and a former Burnley gaffer. We knew what time it was, people, 60th minute. Arteta said, we need to digest this one because it is important to digest, look in the mirror, and on Monday come into the training ground ready for a fight because Brentford will be tough. Amen. We can't feel sorry for ourselves. Now it's time to love the players more than today before and month before because they fully deserve it. It will be next to them and prepare for Saturday. Scrolling down, Mikel Arteta said, the reality is that we should have done more to win the game. We put ourselves in many situations and we had to defend so many set pieces. And against this team, it's a very difficult thing to do. Then in terms of our possession, we opened them up in many, many situations and we got into the final third in great positions and we didn't finish well enough. Amen. They work on set pieces every single day and are really good at it. We have experience with Burnley in that type of situation and we have to prevent that happening. And we have to do the basics in defending really well against this team. And we came up short in that. Yeah. And I would also say sometimes, the radars are wrong. We're struggling to play, 5-yard passes. We're giving the ball away needlessly. You don't look after the ball, you're in trouble in this league, people. Facts from the gaffer. We still had a lot of time to react to that, and we generated some situations, but especially in the final 15 minutes, emotionally, we didn't manage the game well enough. No, we didn't. We lost our heads. We could see the too many free kicks that stopped the game every 30, 40 seconds, and we couldn't get back in the game. In the end, it's about the last 20 minutes and what do you do? There, I think we lack something to win, like a lot of games this season, but we'll work on that. You can't always do it, but the gaffer didn't tell no lies there. Mikel Arteta striker Eddie's also been speaking, people, and he said it was a difficult game. They made it really tough, very tough. Personally, we weren't at the standards we needed to be at today, and we've got to improve and make sure we bounce back in our next game. Credit to them. They put out a good game plan and executed it well today. I felt like we just didn't execute ours to the best of our ability. We were sloppy at times. Facts. These games happen. It's a long season and everything's not always going to go your way, and we know that. Facts, man. He said everyone's disappointed, of course. We want to win every game, especially for the fans traveling who come to support us. We wanted to give them all 3 points, but unfortunately we couldn't do that. I think their support all year has been excellent. It's not an easy place to come to and travel up here, so we're grateful for them. Hopefully we can reward them with 3 points on Saturday. Hopefully we react, man. Not everything is going to go your way, especially when you're pushing and trying to achieve great things. So the togetherness we've got here alongside the fan support, we're going to bounce back, and I know we're going to get a good result on the weekend. I don't know any of that, but I hope so, people. Arsenal in the Premier League this season, 20 games played, 16 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. We've scored 45 goals. We've conceded 17. We've got a plus 28 goal difference. We've only dropped 10 points, as said. Got 50 out of 60 points. And I didn't know we was in first place. We're firmly in charge of qualifying for Champions League. So it could always be better, man. And as much as we've been great, if the season does come to fine margins, which you're seeing, whether you're challenging for the league, for the Europa, for the champs, to stay in the division, a mid-table finish, them 10 points would help us, especially if we did beat Everton. Hindsight's wonderful, isn't it? In the same way, City are probably sitting there saying, boy, you could have made some ground on Arsenal, really. We're going to have to make it count, but we can only deal with the reality of the situation. And again, a bit like travelling to St. Mary's in Southampton and Old Trafford in Man United, we know Goodison Park's not a nice ground for us to go to. Who knows? Arteta might be just helping out his former team now playing. But our record away to Everton in the Premier League in recent seasons, obviously, we lost 1-0 yesterday. We lost 2-1 last season. Season before that, we also lost 2-1. We then drew in 2019-20. Obviously, in 18-19, they beat us 1-0. And you'd have to go back to 2017-18 when we last won, which again, 5-2 thriller. Right. So we've only kept one clean sheet in the last 3-6 years. Like, yeah, man, we're gonna have to patent that one, but they got us there. So yeah, that's that in that regards, people. I don't know why I got that twice, but that's that. That's that. Where's the full talks from Mikel Arteta, man? On our players not being at their best today, I think Everton were really good, and we have to congratulate them first for the way they have turned things around. I think they won the game because they were really efficient. From our side, we're disappointed because obviously we didn't get the result that we wanted, but the performance doesn't reflect what we've been doing, especially in two phases. Once when we were really direct and we struggled to control that type of game and get back on track and the game we wanted to play. Then with the amount of open situations that we generated in the final third, that has to finish with goals or clear-cut chances much more than we did today. He then said the crowd, I mean, you know, the crowd is always going to be something in the Premier League, but we've gone, you know, whether we've won or lost away from home, we've done well. Against United, their crowd made noise. They beat us, but I don't think the crowd had us shook. Brighton, we managed that. Wolves, we managed that. Leeds was probably the toughest away game for me. We did what we needed to do. Palace and Brentford, the same. There's, you know, I'm probably missing out one. There's enough for Brighton, if I haven't said that. There's plenty. Sorry for hitting the mic. Stamford Bridge as well. So, cool. We didn't do that. And we can't control the energy that they can have. I mean, the fans got onto the ref. Every call that the fans were making, the ref was giving, which we should do the same. I was certain that the energy was going to be exact how it's been today. The thing is, what we can do in the game to try and keep us as quiet as possible and try to generate their frustration that we could generate as well. There are moments where we managed to do that, and there are moments when we just gave them the opportunity to get to that stage. On our players showing emotional composure. No, the last 12, 15 minutes, especially after we made changes, we started to give away a lot of free kicks. I think because of taking off part, I think you've got to take responsibility for the balance as well in that regard. And a lot of rash decisions that obviously is exactly what they wanted. Slow the game down, do everything really loud, play the ball into your last line, start to get set plays, and they don't play a lot. We haven't managed, apologies, we haven't managed that well enough. On if the pressure of the situation got to the team, not really. We were just poor against Everton. I don't think so. We've played a lot of games already this season like that, but credit to them. This is what they train for every single day, and you must adapt to that. You have to do the basics, especially in defending. You need to do really well to get your control and right to play. And for the moments we did it, and in others, we didn't do it well enough to get more from the game. On what he wants the team to do in the next game, people, I want the team to know how much I love them. I love them so much more now than 3 hours ago, a week ago, a month ago, 3 months ago. It's very easy to be next to the players when they're winning and performing. This is the moment I love my players more, the staff more, and now we stick together. Siege mentality setting, smash the like button, people. This journey is going to be difficult and challenging. There's going to be bigger stones in the middle that we're going to have to overcome that. And now we're going to prepare really well in the week to get to Saturday in the right emotional level and right spirit to be perfect. On how to stop one loss from turning into more. You can try a lot of things on the pitch to try and deserve the win. He then said the best way to do it is to understand who we are, why we've gotten to where we are, and then to start to do all the basics, right? Play the way we want to play and how to do it better individually and collectively. Then you'll earn the right to win games. He then finally said, you have to give credit to Sean Dice and the team at Everton, because it's one thing saying it and another doing it. And I think they did really well today, which was obviously yesterday. So yeah, man, the better men won. We were completely outclassed. It hasn't happened too many times this season, but you have to hold your hands up sometimes in life, really and truly, and say they were the better team, which they were, because they got the 3 points. Arsenal don't know who was at fault for the corner, but Everton deserved their W. Yes, Arteta was class with that stuff. He was like, it's easy to show love after win. Amen. But today I told them, you're right, Jay, man. What else have we got? Well, you praise for Mikel Arteta, and we are at home. I don't buy Mitoma, 35 million, be more like 50 and need to get a 6 and an 8 and a right back if we can. Get a different type of. What we need to think is you have to beat the games what we've got beat, and try to get things in the top 6 games. Have to face Liverpool, City twice, and Chelsea. Just got to see how Arsenal react in pressure. And also, you've still got to go to St. James's Park, which is not easy at all by any stretch of the imagination, people. Anyone that's under the illusion that is an easy game is smoking something very serious, people. Jay, chill out with that, man. I don't know what you're doing. We don't play them schemes there. But anyways, all inclusive. I won't celebrate the Spuds winning, but I'm happy City lost. I hear that. Nah, man, top 4 is done. If we drop to 5th from here, I'm making my own YouTube. But I don't know, man. And when it's mathematically confirmed is when I'll believe. As unrealistic as it might look that we're not going to get Champions League football next year, can't count chickens for their hatch. Dynamics can change very quickly. Everything looked off yesterday. Couldn't pass, slow, sideways passing, couldn't handle the physical battle, looked shaky from corners, can't understand it. We just weren't good enough. We know what Brentford will do. 3-5-2 formation, pack out the midfield, long throw-ins, and play up to Tony quickly down the channels. We need to be ready for the battle because it will be one, especially set pieces. And you know, Ivan Toney's probably got his Twitter stuff in his bio already prepared to draw us out. And I'm pretty sure our centre-back Gabriel does. Haaland, you're going to look really frustrated. Apparently, he didn't have a touch in Spurs' box. Wouldn't you be as frustrated if he was a striker? Smash the likes, people. Yeah, we definitely need 2 or 3 midfielders in the summer, 6 and an 8. I agree. Yeah, DG, we got difficult matches. City home, away, Chelsea home, Newcastle, and Liverpool with Diaz is tough. But we're just going to have to get on with it. Everyone's got to play everyone, innit? So we're going to have to, man. A little drop of water there. Struggling, man. I think I'm getting ill. Keeping calm till game week 38. Took about 2 games for it to fall apart last season. I hear that. Hear that. We just have to keep going, man, really. But I think you do sign up for certain results. Like, I smashed the like button, 55 likes. I do think you sign up for certain things, like Man United defeat with no midfield, real significant midfield options. No real 6. El Nene's out. Partey came off for whatever reason, whether Mikel Arteta felt that was the best option. When you don't have certain personnel in your team, you sign up for that, man. And, you know, the modern game right now is physically imposing the midfielders. You know, it's never been more about athleticism in the middle of the park. You know, I can't lie. I was watching the game yesterday, and obviously Onana, where he absolutely, I thought Rashford's skill against Partey was good. But, you know, 2 games in the Premier in a row, Partey's been done dirty. Like, Onana did some roulette, and it's like Arteta hooked him. I did somewhat think, what put us off buying this Onana, brother? Obviously, 50 million, whether that's enough or not, I don't know. But we wanted him at Lille. There was rumours in Jan. He made it clear he didn't want to leave Everton, or maybe it's just paper talk for us. But one did wonder why, you know, we could have done with that. He's in his early 20s. He's got the physical profile. What I was watching him at Goodison Park yesterday and thinking, oof, that it would have been nice, especially if Arteta wants to take off Partey and El Nene is injured, or God forbid, both of them are injured, because we are lacking. Clearly, that allegedly that Kyrgios brother can play in midfield, you know, as he did. But everything you hear coming out of Arsenal when his agent talking, he keeps saying left-sided centre-back, left-sided centre-back, left-sided centre-back. So while he can do a job there, I'm pretty sure Benjamin White could as well. Gonna have to plug a gap, really. I do kind of want to see Zinchenko in mid, like properly in midfield as well at some point to a degree. Onana was, speaking of it, Onana was playing for an Arsenal summer transfer. He dominated. We completely lost the physical battle when Partey came off. Jorginho's lack of physicality is worrying, but that's for us to know the player, innit? At 31 years of age, we signed him for his experience and to help him with our momentum. That's for us to know the player. And also, I just think we kind of lose our heads. Like Sunday League, how many times have you seen a manager make several changes and it all goes down the pot a bit? You know, I think we, in terms of the obvious physicality that Partey possesses, I think we lost the positional sense. And it's not just him, because Partey could have been there. I think several players lost their discipline. We stopped doing the basics. We got caught too much on the counter, in my opinion. Even Zinchenko is the man of the match from an Arsenal perspective. If you want a man of the match when you've lost, you know, he's lost it. You lose your discipline. The pain of discipline hurts a lot less than the pain of regret, because we can't go back in time against Everton. The minute we've conceded that goal, like we've done in previous seasons, previous games this season, it's saying, you know what, all right, cool, we're moving mad, let's go again. But we didn't quite do that, really. I think there was a lot of similarities, if I'm completely honest, between Spurs beating City and Everton beating us today, really. Well, yesterday, people. So it's an interesting one. Keep your talking points coming, man. But to be honest, like Gary said, you know what Brentford are on, you know what Man City are on as well. It's not like they're you know, there's no secrets in the Premier League. So we're just gonna have to keep going, man. You ain't Mr. Mitoma talk yet, man. DG, I love Arteta, but he made the wrong sub yesterday. That made it a cheap goal for Tarkowski. What I'd have to go and watch again is the build up to that corner, but set pieces we have looked shaky. Saliba was the only one from the barrage of corners we had yesterday. Is the only one I thought, all right, cool, you're doing the thing. But apart from that, we looked a bit shaky. At the end of the day, we were completely outclassed, really. You know, our eyes told us we weren't good enough. Considering where Everton are at this moment, 12 shots to our 15. They had 4 shots on target. We had 3. So neither team was as clinical as they potentially could be. Everton definitely could have more goals. But in terms of who was more clinical than the other, Everton were. Possession, as shown today against City, possession is 9/10 of the game and 9/10 of the law, but it's what you do with it. We had 71% of it. We didn't do nothing with it. They had 29%. We made 639 passes to their 252. We didn't do much with it. We had 5 corners. They had 7. We're actually set piece FC off our own. We've kind of gone off the ball there. We didn't do nothing with it. So we lost to the better team. No shame in that. Reaction. Setbacks happen. React, because it starts looking a bit brazy if you don't get full points against Brentford. It makes it a very juicy talking point and encounter, obviously, for the following week where we play Man City, where for the second season in a row, Pep's rolled over for Spurs. So it's about time you owe us, man. Oh, I'm good. Great, man. Not enough shots on target, not enough shots in total. But again, for me, it's what did we make? Forget the shots and the statistics. What did we make Pickford do? Pickford never looked in trouble, and there were a couple of times Everton players under no pressure, they were doing silly things, baggy touches, slicing at the ball. We didn't work Pickford. Same way City didn't work Hugo Lloris today. We didn't work him. If you've got a team that can't keep clean sheets, take shots. So we're just gonna have to hold that one, man. City played a bit better than us, and Spurs counted a bit better than Everton. Today was a worse defensive match, but a better offensive one. I don't know about all of that. All I said is I think there's similarities between how both teams won and how both teams lost. Filling the second half against Spurs, they could have scored some more. And I definitely think we should have. I actually think we're quite lucky that we only lost that game 1-0, bro. I think we're very fortunate because I think Everton should have packed us in the first half. Dominic Calvert-Lewin had some good chances. The only positives for me, I really liked Zinchenko. I think Saliba did well. And I think Gabriel did well against Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I know in today's day and age, if a centre-half has a good game, the striker didn't. But I think both can be the case. And Everton, again, if they buy into Sean Dyche, they can save their season. We will beat Brentford with Trossard and go on the attack against City. Hopefully, man. We just need to keep going, really. There's nothing else we can really do in that regards, people. With that being said, should we see what's going on in relation to this Mitoma stuff and whatnot, people? So 33 on the clock. Let's see exactly what's going on. Let's click that because we've already seen that. Let's click that because we've seen that. Click that. Is there any other Arsenal stuff in the last hour? Still this Mitoma business. Big up Iwobi for expressing his love for us. Not that it means much. If you loved us, you would have scored an own goal yesterday. I'm joking, man. Of course, that's a myth. That's that. Sorry, folks. Just making sure everything makes sense. So yeah, man, there's that. Pickford peed me off with his time wasting, and the ref never. Bro, the ref's incompetent, and as much as what Everton were doing jarred me, we've done that and benefited, and that's what I can't begrudge a team for doing the right things in it to waste time. I mean, we're always linked with Asensio. If you lot believe this at this time, people, I don't know, but it's an easy one to link with in relation to what's going on with his contract. But nonetheless, Arsenal set to open talks to sign Real Madrid star ahead of summer window. He missed a mad penalty the other day. Arsenal are set to open talks to sign Real Madrid attacking midfielder Marco Asensio ahead of the summer transfer window. Asensio is out of contract at the end of the season, meaning he's able to sign for a new club for free in the summer transfer window. Despite finding it difficult to break into the team on a regular basis at the start of the season, Asensio has managed to find himself getting more minutes as the season goes on. This season, Asensio has managed 2 goals and 3 assists in 14 La Liga appearances. According to the Daily Mirror, people, Arsenal are set to open talks to sign Asensio ahead of the summer transfer window. I'm sure he could ask us about life in London, but I can't see this happening really for the wages he'd come on, and he doesn't necessarily get into our best team. He missed a pen today as well. DG, do you think Edu's do you think Edu's system idea is a bit of, we have gone from looking at Caicedo to Jorginho, different types? I mean, I would have looked at it a lot differently had you have brought in a profile of Caicedo and then Jorginho. You say, you know what, this is the guy to grow in Moses' case. And then for obviously Jorginho, okay, this is a somewhat smart signing. I don't begrudge the signing of Jorginho. I think there's a lot to like about it. But for me, and again, I'm not going to criticize a team for having several targets and then not being able to get them and making something happen. But it's another transfer window where we've done all right, but there's always a lot more we could have done better. And obviously, where the top targets are concerned, we've not got them over the line because there's still a lot of question marks over midfield. You know, obviously, you could say we're stronger in midfield, but you could also say we're weaker. I agree with example of letting Lokonga go out on loan because he's not getting football. If Patrick can get a tune out of him, that's good for us, whether he's sold or stays at the club. But you could argue selfishly, he could have stayed to be a body because now El Nene's injured. On the face of it, El Nene, Granit, Partey, and now Jorginho, that should be enough to get through the season. But is it really? Couple injuries, bit of suspensions, all these things, there's problems. And for me, the profile, Xhaka can get stuck in. Partey has a lot more than just getting stuck in, but there's that physicality aspect. Not to the same degree, but El Nene's got that box-to-box nature. Either player's not involved or player comes off or player's not involved, we're in trouble. Jorginho plays that 6 role a lot different. So I think we're going to miss that composing figure. I think if things go wrong, we've shown we can react to setbacks, but we can still be overrun in the middle. Evidently, we still struggle to break down low blocks. That's a task for Arteta to help Edu recruit players that can do that sort of stuff. But also, I guess, tactically, because we struggle against that. We couldn't break down Everton. Everton put up more of a fight, clearly, than Newcastle, I feel, when we played them, but we couldn't break it down. As a team, everyone's got weaknesses. You know, you double up on Martinelli and Saka, half the job is done. You win the midfield battle. Cool, Arsenal's defenders can have the ball and play out from the back, but there's going to be next to no options. These are the issues. And you know we have them youthful naivety, so I'm not too sure on this Asensio links, but once again, been linked with him. I'm sure if you type in his name in United, a bunch of other clubs have as well. Allegedly, Declan Rice fee would blow British record out of the water if he leaves West Ham, says David Moyes, people. Declan Rice will demand a fee which will not just smash the British record, but blow it out of the water if he leaves West Ham, says David Moyes. I mean, he's going to say that. Probably has to be a bit more realistic, but it probably would be 80 to 100 million. He is contracted until 2024 with another option, people. Undoubtedly, Declan is going to be a top player. He'll be a British transfer record if he ever leaves West Ham. Could have done with him yesterday. What a signing he's been. And apparently he's got 18 months left. He's turned down several new deals. When asked if Rice's departure was inevitable, Moyes said, I hope it's not. I hope he sees his time here. To be fair, David Moyes, you can't convincingly say you're going to be there by the start of next season, really, even though I've got a lot of time for you people. There's a lot of talk about it. And when you see what's going on, what's going about for the prices, I think Declan will be blowing that out of the water. That's for sure when it comes around. It is what it is. This is the market now, as some of you know, people. From one midfielder to another, apparently, you know, there's some sound bites coming out with Lokonga. Apparently, Patrick Vieira said, and let's click this. I spoke with Edu, and he really gave me the full picture of the player in terms of his character, both on and off the pitch. We always want to know what kind of players we are signing. Now we also know what side of the game he needs to improve. We're talking about experience with Sambi in a sense that he knows the Premier League, does he? He's got tactical and technical ability to improve our playing, and I still believe there's more to come from him. He's capable of running in behind and getting into the box. His mobility and strength will help us. So, dude, is that Vieira saying he sees him as more of a box-to-box number 8 than a 6? I don't know, but Vieira make him look like something close to you by the time he returns to London, Coley. So we'll have to see, people. He then went on to say, people, yeah, like he said, he's capable of running in behind, getting into the box. His mobility and strength will help us. What's important for him is to play more games. We'll give him that opportunity. And of course, he'll have to work hard to get that space. But he believes it was the right decision for the next step of his career. You obviously referred to Conor Gallagher. You saw what brought him, you know, what he's probably at Chelsea off the back of a solid loan. Didn't quite do that at Swansea or West Brom. Apparently, Onana's issued a passionate transfer message just weeks after Arsenal wanted him. You all saw him doing that after the game yesterday, people. Obviously, Onana was linked with Arsenal and Chelsea, and he was quality in that game. Absolutely quality. But what has he actually said? I ain't effing going nowhere. I'm effing here. Okay, keep doing that. Fair enough, Onana. Fair enough, lad. Apparently, Ben Jacobs has spoken on Declan Rice, allegedly, people, and he claims Declan Rice fee could be closer to 80 million. Arsenal are known admirers of West Ham. We know this. Specifically, what has he said? West Ham pretty resigned to losing Declan Rice this summer. Rice said at the World Cup he was envious of England teammates playing Champions League. Several Premier League clubs, including Arsenal and Chelsea, will try to sign him. That was today, obviously the 5th of February. Smash the like button, people. So, yeah. Although Moyes predicts getting a British transfer record fee, 107 million following Enzo Fernandez's Chelsea move, Rice's contract expires in the summer of 2024. Suitors hoping for 70, 80 million, but no doubt West Ham will try and use Enzo fee, and even the failed Moses Caicedo bid 70 million as a new yardstick. 80 is fair. But again, if I'm West Ham, I don't really care what Chelsea or Arsenal need to do. I'm putting you against each other, really, and playing chicken at least until August and saying, you know what, Declan Rice leave. One has to imagine Rice has to be kind of prepared. Hopefully there's a gentleman's agreement, but Rice kind of has to be prepared to burn some potential bridges at his football club, people. Allegedly, I don't know if you believe we're in for a Mitoma. I don't know if you believe that it will cost 35 million. God knows where this puts us in relations with our you know, with what happened with Moses Caicedo, and obviously Brighton and rumours our relationship is damaged. Who cares for any of that? But for what it's worth, Arsenal lead race for Brighton sensation Mitoma, but will have to fork out 35 million in the summer. Once again, after obviously buying smart and reinvesting, and obviously selling Cucurella, Benjamin White, Basuma, probably missing out a couple of players for decent money. Trossard. They've got strong cash reserves. They've shown they're notoriously difficult to deal with. You know, Mitoma's just basically got his feet wet. They probably know Caicedo and McAllister will leave. So they're probably in no rush to let go of Mitoma. Have to see what's going on there. As you know, people, the 25-year-old is taking a unique route to becoming a Premier League ace, delaying signing a pro deal at his homeland club, Kawasaki Frontel, age 19. He instead went to university and wrote a thesis on dribbling. I mean, everyone should read it based on how he plays. Obviously, he signed for just 2.7 million in 2021, and in 2023 or 2022, 2023, even if he was sold for 35 million, what a profit that is. Obviously, he's been on loan, people. He has 7 goals and 2 assists in 20 games, and apparently his impressive performances have attracted the attention of the Gunners, reports Fabrizio Romano. He has a contract until the summer of 2025. De Zerbi will be desperate to keep him. So you'd imagine maybe they're selling him and it's a quick profit, but you'd imagine he's in line, you know, for a better deal, really, especially if he keeps this up. I mean, every interest doesn't mean you're going to bid for the guy, really. You know, he's drawing an interest from a lot of clubs if he keeps developing. We know Brighton does the thing. Romano said, I think top clubs know that Mitoma's priority is now to focus on Brighton and not on any big move yet. For sure, he's already worth more than 35 million, but it's not the time for negotiations at this stage. It's more top recruitment from Brighton. They've unearthed another gem who is in great form at the moment. I don't think anyone would disagree with what's been said there. Liverpool, Real Madrid, City to fight out for Jude Bellingham. Declan Rice could stay in London, but not at West Ham. And Moses Caicedo wants a top 4 club where Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, all of varying degrees. But I think he and anyone else, even Spurs, they could all do with him. What we have to accept is for Declan Rice and Moses, or anyone else that's half talented, Zubamendi potentially, there's going to be a fight. So by all means, go after, convince. If you get them, great. If not, move on. What is this article saying? I mean, no, I would love Jude Bellingham. That's a myth for Arsenal Football Club. Unless Kroenke wants to dig deep into his pocket. Scrolling all the way down. Declan Rice, allegedly 80 million, people. While a move to West London is now unlikely, Rice will look certain to bring the curtain down on his time in East London this summer. Rice has smashed the like button, people. Rice has been at West Ham his whole career, making 221 appearances for the Hammers in all comps since he made his debut in 2017. The club find themselves in the middle of a relegation battle. We know this. Rice will look to push for a move away at the end of the season, having already turned down a number of contract renewals at the London Stadium. He has made it no secret that he wants to play in the Champions League, something West Ham have failed to offer him, which saw him speak openly of his desire to play at the top level in the game, making the point you only get one career. He did say, I see my friends who play in the Champions League winning big trophies. You only get one career, and at the end of career, you want to look back at what you've won. So we'll have to see. Barring a total capitulation of their season, Arsenal will be able to offer him just that next season, people. The Gunners emerged as a surprise runner in the race for Rice last summer. I mean, we've seen this. We're confident of buying people. We lead the race, etc. Until people are holding scarves, signing on the dotted line, anything's up for debate. So by all means, go after all your targets, but be able to react. And we've made him our top summer target, people. Arsenal are prepared to break the transfer record, and Mikel Arteta's side also prepared to break the club's transfer record to sign the England international, who's allegedly valued at around 80 million. West Ham won 100 million. And again, Moses Caicedo has interest from Arsenal, Chelsea, and Liverpool, people. He didn't get the move despite the social media antics in January. We tried the thing, it didn't bang. 2 bids rejected from Arsenal, 2 bids rejected from Chelsea. So yeah, people. We know he took to social media, but he's going to be reintegrated into the team, people. In private, it's understood that De Zerbi made it clear how important Caicedo is to his team and reinforced the importance of keeping him. With that in mind, Brighton can expect to face another barrage of bids for the youngster when the window reopens in the summer, people. Apparently, the Italian manager appeared to open the door to Caicedo's exit on Sunday, saying the team were ready to move on without him. I mean, they're not missing Trossard, they're not missing Cucurella, Benjamin White, or anyone they've sold, really. That was the previous statement. Arsenal are one of the most likely contenders to go back in for Caicedo. I mean, if he's going to cost 70, 80 million, and Declan Rice is, that's 160 on 2 midfielders, really. And what does that mean for Xhaka and Partey and any other areas Mikel Arteta wants to address? I assume he wants to look for a right back as well, maybe a striker with a different profile. There's potentially a case to bring in another winger. As we know, Liverpool were linked with him, and they're going to need to rebuild their midfield, and probably that's where he walks in quickest, really. He has a contract until 2025, but another big money offer in the summer could see the Seagulls cash in next time around. You hope Edu, when the window's shut, he's dotting I's and crossing T's in the back burners to get these guys in, whether it's Declan Rice and Moses, or one of the two, or none of them, and alternative targets. We have to be prepared to move in any scenario, people. Allegedly, as you can see there, let's refresh this. Arsenal are now the favourites to sign Yuri Telemans. Everything's going full circle. Before that, allegedly, Arsenal have joined the race to sign Asu Fati, and we've joined the clubs like Bayern Munich and Tottenham in the race to sign the 20-year-old people. Not too sure if we should believe that. Arsenal, the overwhelming favourites to sign Telemans in the summer, people. So I don't see us getting Moses, getting obviously Declan Rice and Telemans. It would bring a lot of youth into our midfield, where you look at Jorginho, who we've just signed for at least another year, Xhaka and Partey, and El Nene would significantly bring them down. I don't think we get 2 of the 3, let alone 3 of the 3, but it would be nice. Ben Jacobs has said Arsenal will still be there for sure, and we know that Telemans very much wanted that move a year ago and was hoping that something might come off throughout the summer, but Arsenal moved in a different direction. We've just heard about Declan Rice breaking the transfer record from David Moyes. We know we face competition to sign Declan Rice. We also know Martinelli has signed a new deal at the football club until 2027 with the option of another one. The Congo has said it was not easy to leave Arsenal in terms of game time. It could, God forbid, but allegedly Arsenal have set their sights on Callum Hudson-Odoi, whose days appear numbered at Chelsea. Allegedly, we considered a move for Ajax's Edson Alvarez before obviously ultimately signing Jorginho, and we were close to triggering Zubamendi's release clause in Jan before he made it clear he didn't want to leave his hometown club mid-season, allegedly. So that appears to be the transfer news, people, allegedly. So we'll have to see. The dream is free. The hustle is sold separately. But yeah, that's that. What are you guys saying? The Kroenke's Walton family is worth over 200 million combined. One window of Bellingham, Rice, and Leao wouldn't hurt them too much. Telemans, Moses, and Rice would be cool, but I don't see Arsenal getting 3 or 3. But one of the 2 6s and the 8 would be cool. I hear that. Brentford, just a kick about with the boys would be interesting. Our midfield needs to get back on track, and we've got it. Moses and Rice going to be a race, though. Still confused on no big club looking at Neves, but Edu needs to start getting out of options, getting an option out of options. I'm not sure what he said there. Can't be surprised if he goes for a record fee. If I'm honest, Shaq to play the blind. I mean, everyone's finessing everyone. You know, the ability of a player at the time to the transfer fee isn't necessarily correlated, man. I mean, if we do have a bad relationship with Brighton, if we've had think about it. If you've had one disagreement with your friend, does that make them a bad person? And if that really ruins your relationship, you had a fragile relationship to begin with. Brighton are not our brethren. You put the money down, it is what it is. Brighton said, don't bid for him. We're not selling. We didn't. Who don't hear must feel. So we never got the guy. Simple as that. Not reactionary, but maybe Arteta can play Zinchenko in that 8 position and bring Tini in. Need new ideas to deal with low blocks. Plus, it helps Nelly or Trossard being doubled up against. Mitoma, essentially, I think that's quite clear. Amen. What kind of 6 do you go for in the summer? I think Zubamendi would be perfect for how I'd want us to play. But yeah, man. Who would you take out of Mitoma and Caicedo? Caicedo, really. I mean, the rumours say Envia and Higuain are still completing their moves, man. Arsenal caught life as Tottenham beat Man City 1-0 to keep a 5-point lead. Big game for us against Brentford Saturday. Zinchenko, Gabriel, and Ramsdale, only players who can hold their head high. I hear that. Very interesting points. Business is business. It can be resolved in deals. Trust me, business is business. One day, Brighton might turn around and want to buy one of our lads. And they've got to bear that in mind, how nice we were to them, if I'm completely honest with you, is what I would say. Darwin Núñez should be reading that thesis every night. And Lukaku, he didn't deserve that, man. He never deserved that. I want to see Moyes at Leeds. Leeds will end up being in a madness, really. I don't think David Moyes, this time next year, I don't think David Moyes personally is going to be at West Ham. Don't appear that there's anything new in the world. Carlo Ancelotti immediately wanted Caicedo now. Keep forgetting Caicedo is obviously there at Bayern Munich and he's not there at City. Bet they could have used him today. Is there anything new where Arsenal is concerned? Spin the block. Doesn't appear so. Doesn't appear so. In fact, YouTube is messing with me. Keep your thoughts coming, people. Vieira make Sambi better, please, mate. I hope so, but it's at that stage now where Sambi's got to do it himself. Vieira, sorry, can give you the tools. He can try and make you better, but you're gonna have to want it for yourself now, man. You have to give confidence to yourself. You know, Crystal Palace are not gonna care that you want games or you want to play at Arsenal. You know, Crystal Palace's situation is quite volatile. And forgive me if I'm wrong, they've actually signed a couple of midfielders. So you need to show in training and in the minutes you get that you deserve to be playing. In the ideal world, we're looking at Sambi and saying, well, why couldn't Arteta get this out of him? Why did he have to go on loan? Blah, blah, blah. I want us to play like the same way with Balogun and Charlie Patino. To a degree, when you talk about Arsenal's young players, someone's always waxing lyrical about them on loan. And likewise with the Ainsleys and a couple of other players, you forget about them. You forget they're legit at their clubs. Man said, Father DG, forgive me for I've celebrated the Tottenham win. Look at this guy. Just offer Balogun on loan to them next season and they'll be all right. Pep overthinks the game against us and Saka is going to cook Lewis. Hopefully, man. I want him to overthink. You owe us 3 points for the batterings you've been giving us, if I'm completely honest. So hopefully. What's going on with social media? It doesn't appear that there's anything really new here, folks. But nonetheless, one love for your thoughts. Keep them flowing, people. We're just going to have to accept that L and just keep it moving, really. There's nothing we can do. This is how the Premier League goes, man. It does suck when you lose, especially because Arsenal haven't done that too many times this season. Pardon me, but we're just going to have to keep it moving, essentially. Patino, Trusty, Balogun done very well on loan. Of course, other young players. Trusty's doing quite well. Puts himself in the shop window. Sadly, Lokonga can't make an offensive difference. That's why the Palace had that much time, extra man. And when he came in, no goals. He needs to improve a bit. Hear that? I hear that. So, yeah, man. Appears that seems to be it, really and truly, folks. Keep your thoughts coming. What else? Have I missed out anything? Let me scroll all the way up. DG, your biggest challenge this season will be the set of games where you have to play City, Chelsea, and Newcastle, 2 away and 1 at home. I hope you do and win it all, brother King. One love. Be bold and drop White against Brentford. Questions could be asked for Martinelli as well. I think Benjamin will play, but I do think Tomiyasu needs a run out, man, if I'm honest with you. I think Benjamin White looks a bit spent physically. Haaland shook his head at the end mostly because they couldn't get close to us today rather than himself playing bad. Hope we can keep them at arm's length. I mean, he said they have to, hunt Arsenal down. I don't know what. This is why Haaland should shut his mouth and keep playing, isn't it? Hopefully, Odegaard's texting him some serious bants. I've already seen that. What we need to think. I've already seen that. I feel better now. Wow, look how emotional football is, man. You can be down as hell and then up depending on what you're looking at, man. Appreciate that. New Limit Sports. Shout out yourself, my guy. So, yeah, man. What's going on in the world of football? I just hope that Eddie's beginning to work for the summer, which he probably is. Can't believe I'm agreeing with Gary Neville. Something isn't right at City. It feels a bit strange. I can't believe I'm agreeing with you. I hate myself. But nonetheless, I do. My right is right. I don't try to look at the messenger. Sometimes just the message being portrayed. So, yeah, man, I mean, that looks tired. We know we're trying to get Saka and Saliba to sign new deals. Hopefully, we do a thing. If I'm completely honest with you. Boy, has Haaland scored against the big 6 clubs? He'll probs bag a few versus us. He must have, man. He must have by now, man. Honestly, I can't verify it, but he must have. He must have at this point. Off topic, but I need Lookman to come back to the Prem and cook like Salah did. I don't think you'll get that. I would like Zubimendi get his release clause. I hear that. I'd love Benatia, but the dream is free. The hustle is sold different. It's sold separately, as you know, lad. Hopefully, we can get these things done, man. Hat-trick against United. There you have it. He's loading for us, man. Neymar's 31. My God, we've seen this guy's whole career, innit, folks? Seen his whole career. Yes, Benny Blanco needs a game or 2 on the bench. He looked legged yesterday and the game before even worse. Tommy looked sharp or at least close to what we need. And he bagged the hat-trick against United. I mean, this is Well, this is what happens, really. What player is great for every 38 games or every game they've played? What's the ideal plan of action for the summer? Well, where Declan Rice, Moses Caicedo is concerned, you get them confirmed early so that they can have a pre-season like Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus. So ideally, we address the middle of the park. For me, especially if we're going to be in the Champions League, you know, Saka, Martinelli, these guys are good, great talents, and it's easier said than done. But if we could get a player in whatever position with a bit of stardust to them, where when things are going wrong, they can bail us out of problems, like kind of what Henry used to do and Alexis Sanchez, then fine. But in terms of personnel, I think there is a capacity to sign another wide man or striker or a guy that can play in the two. I think we need a couple of midfield. I think we need to address our midfield properly this summer. I still would like a right back. I don't quite, depending on what Tierney's happening with Tierney, probably need to address the left back regions. We brought in a left-sided centre half. Probably need to flush some players out. You know, in an ideal world, you know, Pepe, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Cedric, Pablo Marie, anyone else I'm missing. These lot are not things of Arsenal anymore. So I'd say where outgoings are concerned, this is probably where you want to see Edu earn his money, not just ripping up contracts and that, man. DG, what do you think is the best way to break down teams like Everton when we play against a very solid, when we play against very defensively solid teams? We need more movement. We need to pull them out of the spaces, really. We are quite predictable in that it's in front, but we need people to make runs just to take people away. We need to disrupt the system. When we're playing neat, sharp 5-yard passes, that's not going to disrupt their rigidness, is it? Tommy against Brentford because of the aerial threat, and I would thought we needed Tomiyasu for that very factor yesterday, if I'm honest with you, man. I mean, yeah, Tomiyasu ain't the guy in attack, really, but yeah, would love Leao for some star power, but the dream is free hustle sold. So you got to put the bread down. We need Jesus to motivate this team. I think the players are rarely motivated. Of course, it's not going to happen, but the earlier you do it, the best, man. The quicker you can get signings in, the better. I don't want to see a next summer where we're scrambling for Telemans, Douglas Luiz, etc., etc. And if I'm honest with you, Kyria, it seemed like we got that done from early. Trossard, fair enough, there was an opportunity on the market after the failure of Mudryk and things like that. But, you know, if we're linked with Mudryk for the best part of December, the minute the first week of the January, or at least the second, get that done. Just get these guys done. Not scrambling on the end of the window for Danilo, for Telemans, for Douglas Luiz. This Jan, obviously scrambling to a slight degree. Get it done earlier, man. But it's easier said than done. This is what I'm saying. As soon as the market closed, get things done, because there's going to be some clubs that are just going to pop up with signings. But if you're Brighton, if you're West Ham, it's not in your, like you said, it's not in your best interest to get rid of these guys early. Spark bidding wars. If Liverpool, Chelsea, and Arsenal and anyone else, Man United, whoever, really want Declan Rice or Caicedo, put them off against each other, like what Shakhtar did for Arsenal and Chelsea, where ultimately, you know, they won, or a bit like the loan fee with João Felix, where at the end of the day, someone's going to put down the bread. You don't do it, somebody else is, and then life is just going to continue, really. So hopefully we're doing exactly that. But in relation to signings and that, it's irrelevant until the summer. We have to use what we have, really. Shout Ian Wright for going to watch Arsenal's women play. Still 0-0 between West Ham and Arsenal at that level. Yeah, man. His spirit of sacrifice makes his teammates love him just like me, and give more and more. You can't just stay silent when you see guys fighting with gorillas by himself. How you feel about the game just gone? You guys were unlucky to play Sean Dice. I mean, big up Sean Dice, but we shagged ourselves, innit? Like, we weren't efficient in the final third. We weren't switched on defensively. We lost our individual battles and things like that. It's peak. Yeah, it's a Bayern Munich shirt still. So it is what it is. Need next summer, get a 6 early, need them to come in quick. Because it's always, sometimes your season or what defines your team is not how you necessarily are. Or we've done so well before, because it gives you a platform to fall upon. End of the day, it could have been a lot better in hindsight after what you saw with Manchester City, but it could be a what else is there? You know, the Fulham, the Villa, the West Ham games could have went left as well. Leeds, the biggest one for me. The United game at home and away, positively and negatively. But this is football. Sometimes you do the right, in Liverpool at home as well. When you do the right things and you turn up, sometimes a byproduct of doing the right things, you get that positive good luck. We were never going to get that against Everton because we didn't do the basics. Sometimes you lose games you don't deserve to lose. Sometimes you win when you don't deserve to win. Sometimes you get a draw when you shouldn't have got none. Sometimes you play fantastic and you don't get anything. This is the way the world works, and football is no different. So we just need to be able to react. End of the day, 2 draws, 2 losses in February. It could have been a lot better. It could have been a lot worse. We'd have bitten anyone's hand off for this come, in August. So we just have to keep going and just finish as high as we can. It's as simple as that, if I'm completely honest with you guys, man. That's what I would say. No time for underbidding this summer. Arsenal need to drop the bags early. I hear that, man. We all miss Jesus, but injuries happen, man. Jesus would have been lovely. Newcastle have apparently entered the race for Bellingham. Well, when you got bread like that, it is what it is. Ndika and Telemans for free early would be fantastic. I think there's more likeliness of Telemans, saying that we do have an interest in Ivan Ndika, and Kyrgios can play in a couple of roles, but Ivan Ndika is a left-sided centre-back. We went and signed Kyrgios. Surely it means we leave Ndika alone, really. Holding is homegrown. I do think Ndika is better than Holding. He could take that position, but I'm sure there's other clubs he could get more football, man. Appreciate that, man. Old thing, man. Old thing. I appreciate that, my guy, man. Need a second man for a right wing. That's what I mean by the Stardust players, but you can't really, like, the Alexis's, the Meslets, the Arshavins, the Santis, these kind of guys that can just be talisman in their own way, all of various levels, but it's easier said than done signing these guys, really. Have to literally see, man. Apparently City have lost more Premier League games this season in 4 than they managed all last season. Hopefully it's 5 in a few weeks, or any other one, really. If I'm completely honest. No, Keylor Navas still surprises me. He's at thingy, man. He's not at the Forest now. We know City have to come to the Emirates and pick up all 3 points. There's no ways about it. I hope Jesus does a thing, but if he's not here, he's not here. Still fuming we didn't get a proper party back up. You're not alone. I think the Ndika ship has left. Maybe, because when you listen to Kyrgios' agent, he keeps saying that all the other clubs wanted to go for him in the summer, and Arsenal wanted to go for him in Jan, which is obviously our benefit. If he wanted to stay until the summer and he wanted to go to AC Milan, Napoli, or any of these clubs, then I think we would have went for Ivan Ndika, really. What do you think of Marcelo Flores? I don't think he'll be Stardust anytime soon. Good little player, kind of struggling to get to grips to replicate it at senior level, but this is what happens for them, really. I do like him. He's very energetic, very good technically. Hopefully things fall into place for the lad sooner rather than later, broski. I don't think we'll get Rice this coming summer. It's quite obvious how dormant, I think we are dormant on the market. If we can't get someone else in it, as long as the midfield's addressed, then I don't really care what we do or don't do, really and truly, man. If we knew Onana was so good, but ultimately it was the new manager's choice, maybe he's not. Maybe he is. Maybe the people get things wrong all the time. Someone at Chelsea released Eddie Nketiah and Declan Rice. They've become Premier League footballers. And Arsenal, etc., have done that wrong. Football's a funny old game of opinions. Of course, the time chronological order is different, but Kane's a household name in the Premier League. Someone released him from Arsenal and Watford. That slipped through the cracks. These things happen. Football's a funny old game of opinions. Maybe there's other factors. Maybe Onana's agent was acting. Maybe Onana just didn't want to move to Arsenal. Maybe we had other targets that we went for. So for me, ultimately, whether you're going for Onana, Neves, Zubamendi, Declan Rice, Moses Caicedo, anyone who inevitably is going to be thrown into the papers, get things done. To be fair, Gnabry were acting, but he made it clear he wanted to leave. If you're talking about Yunus Musa, we did all we could. He was given a fantastic opportunity to fast track at Valencia, like Musiala at Chelsea, and they went and done it. Benatia is the serious L because he said he wanted first team football. Arsenal didn't want to give it to him at the time. They should have given it him at the time. I know Arsenal fans waffle about these players all the time, the Jeffs, etc., Xavi Amici, all these guys, the Vontae Daly Campbell guys that have ultimately not done anything in the game. But Musa should have stayed, Him and Aziz were playing the schoolboys, levels above Aziz. He should have stayed. Benatia should have stayed. Gnabry had injuries. It shouldn't have been a thing. But we have to learn from these L's. Sometimes, maybe if any of these players stayed, they wouldn't be where they're at now. You just never know in life, people. Who really knows, if I'm completely honest with you? And I guess that's the beautiful thing about it in a weird way. 114 likes, very appreciative, people. But on that note, though, I can't lie. It's almost 8 p.m. I want my Sunday dinner. I've been with you lot for Arsenal, City. I mean, West Ham. I'm even forgetting Spurs, City. And we've been here for an hour and 5 minutes. I'll be back tomorrow. We're definitely live at 4:30 to Play FM. If there's anything to discuss with Arsenal between 11:30 and 2 p.m., I'll be there. 6:45, we're watching Arsenal versus Watford's FA Youth Cup, people. They're streaming it live on Arsenal, so we might as well do a watch along for that. Make sure you've subscribed, you've hit the like button, you've commented your opinions, you're staying blessed, you're staying safe. Hopefully this week is great for you lot. Hopefully you and your loved ones stay in good health. Appreciate you lot support for this live stream. Appreciative of the consistent support. So yeah, I'm going to eat, shower, and relax, people. And I'll see you lot next week. Well, yeah, technically next week. See you lot tomorrow, man. One love.
There's always just that active red light defending. I think it's like
Time.